Welcome to the Spirit-Centered Business Podcast, where we blend the spiritual with the practical for supernatural results. Now, here is your host, Bralynn Newby.
Hello there. Welcome to Spirit-Centered Business. I'm excited to welcome back Peter Nieves to the show. He was on a couple of years ago now. I think it was episodes like 103, 104, or something like that, if you want to go back and check the old stuff. But he's got some new stuff. So welcome back, Peter. I'm excited to talk to you about the new stuff that you're putting out there.
Oh, thanks so much. It's great to be here with you guys, especially with all the stuff that's going on right now.
Right. So let me just do a quick intro. Peter is a global attorney for protecting your content, protecting your IP, your intellectual property. Let me spell it out. And also for content creators, we're going to talk about that today. For AI, we're going to talk about that. And for legal things in your business, I mean, there's patents. There's a lot of things that Peter works with clients all over the world to help protect to CYA, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. So yeah, so you have a boot camp coming up. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are putting out content in different ways. So we have people that are using artificial intelligence to create videos, courses, content, like namely books, online courses, but they might create images as well, like Midjourney or other programs. The problem is they don't have a clue as to what the legal issues are associated with this. So we want to make sure that people are highly successful, but they don't run into legal problems. And there are a lot of legal issues that are happening with no one aware of them. And so we're trying to make them, basically, we're trying to prepare them as best as possible for being highly successful without running in situations where they have to hire somebody like me for $600 an hour to get them out of trouble. And that's what's happening right now. We're getting busier and busier in the legal industry because people aren't aware of what the issues are for content creation.
Wow, wow. And I do want to point out, I mean, if you watch the original, the first two times Peter was on the show, he's very much about God for, protecting the ideas that God gave you and the heavenly downloads that we get. So he is on the, biblically based. So it's not just like out of the blue that I chose this guy off the street, right? No, he has the heart of the Father and is helping protect business owners. So just wanted to throw that out there.
No, I appreciate that. No, I mean, I've been told by a lot of people that I have very much a very protective nature. I've got 2 daughters on top of that, so that tells you a lot. But in general, I'm a strong believer of that. If you have certain skill sets, it's your responsibility to steward them well. And one of the ways you steward them well is helping others with your skill sets. Well, I just happen to be very highly skilled in this area of intellectual property law, trademarks, copyrights, patents, trade secrets, licensing, global IP, portfolio management, all those areas. And so nobody understands these things well unless you end up in a legal problem. And so I want to make sure people don't end up in a legal problem. So that's why I'm doing these educational trainings for free, just to get people up to speed.
Oh, brilliant. And I know that that's how I found you. I joined one and then I upgraded to the VIP because it was great, great content and great information. And so I probably need you. Most people know on the show that I just wrote my book and the cover. I actually did a show on how this cover was designed. This is from Midjourney, and then I hired someone to do it from Midjourney, and then I hired another person to tweak it, another graphic designer. So you won't find this exact one, but someone could come close. But tell me the problem that I still might run into with that.
Yeah, so I'm actually pulling something up here. Here we go. All right, so the main issue is that if the image is originally created using artificial intelligence, right? Let's say the core image is they use Midjourney. Somebody goes in, types in a prompt while using Discord, and they come up with, let's say, the scroll, right? Let's say that portion there.
Yeah.
But then you modify it by adding other features, other colors, other effects. The question is whether or not the new creation is a derivative of the original, because for the original work, the Copyright Office and the Federal District Court have come out and said you cannot own, under copyright law, anything created by artificial intelligence. I've got a whole training that talks about my opinion on that and how I think the law is going to change within the next 5 to 6 months. But setting that aside, if the image that's created, the core image is created by AI, you can't own that by copyright law. So let's say you modify it now. The only part of it that would be protectable under copyright law, and then again, just the reason why you want to be able to protect things under copyright law is because you want to stop other people from copying it. Or if you're trying to publish a book, your publisher, in many cases, has a clause in there that says you have to confirm that everything that you are providing them, you own under copyright law, right? And if you
I do.
don't,
Yep.
then that's a violation of the agreement. And
Yeah.
so, and I know this because I've dealt with a lot of these organizations. So if the modification to the original work, the original image created by artificial intelligence is subtle, meaning that it doesn't equate to the level of being a new copyrighted work. So the new thing that's added to the image in and of itself doesn't get to the level of being a new creation. It's not fixed and it's not created by a human being, then it's not copyrightable. So that means that, as an example, do you want to use your specific
Sure.
example?
All
All
right,
right,
sure.
let's go through yours. All right, let's go through your example. So let's say the scroll right there was created by AI, but the
Mhm.
flames around it and the color were created by some kind of computer graphic artist, right?
Mhm.
In my opinion, looking at the flames alone, the flames in and of themselves do not equate to a level of being copyrightable just by themselves. The
Right.
scroll is really the essence of that work. And
Right.
so copyright law comes down to what's the essence of the work. And this is why, again, all you content creators are going to want to go to this content creator legal bootcamp because a lot of people don't understand this. But the fact is that you can actually publish a book where your images were created by AI and you've done modifications that don't equate to the level of being copyrightable. So therefore, all of your content's copyrightable, but your images are not. And that happened in the case of Zarya the Dawn. She created a comic book, all of her own content, created the images using Midjourney. And in that case, the Copyright Office rejected her copyrights on the images because they were created by AI, but granted the copyright for the rest of the comic book. So you can end up with a split copyright essentially.
Oh.
But again, people aren't talking about this. The question is, why is nobody talking about this? People are so excited about AI. Like they're like, this is the greatest new thing, right? But the problem is people are riding this AI wave, but they're not looking in the water. They're not seeing the sharks. They're not seeing the poisonous snakes. They don't see the reef right underneath the water. For all you surfers out there, you know what I'm talking about. And so they're enjoying this, but the second they crash, it's over. And so we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. I use AI every week. My company does every week, but we know how to use it properly.
One of the things that I want to point out is like if you're going to write something with AI, let's just say I want to write a blog post or something like that, it scrapes information from other places. So even what you think you're creating with AI, it's not actually creating it, it's finding it. And I think that,
Yeah, it's more like it found it. It's more
yeah.
like past tense because what OpenAI did in creating ChatGPT, and by the way, if any of you guys saw that interview with the CTO of OpenAI talking about Sora only a few days ago, she got stumbled. It was embarrassing watching the interview. The interviewer asked her, the reporter asked her, where did you get the content? Where did you get the videos for Sora? What Sora does is it allows you to type in words and it creates a movie for you, like a video, which is
I
really
see.
cool.
Okay.
But they asked her, where did you get the videos? And so she said, well, it's publicly available videos and licensed material. And then the reporter dug in more. And the questions were questions that we asked about a year ago in making people aware of these issues. Well, does that mean you scrape them from YouTube, from Facebook, from Instagram, from TikTok? And she just started going, I probably shouldn't talk about where we get the content. Guys, if the CTO of a major corporation like OpenAI introducing brand new software like Sora, which is going to be one of the hottest products out there, is not willing to tell you where the content's coming from, are you really willing to let your company like be exposed by using the results of these products? you better know where they're coming from, or at least how to search to make sure you don't get in trouble. And that's what we're training people to do.
Oh, that's brilliant. So this boot camp that's coming up, Content Creators Legal Bootcamp, did I say that name right?
That's correct, yes.
That one is March 26th through the 28th. So
That's
it's
right.
coming right up, and you guys need to go to spiritcenteredbusiness.com/protectors. So go there and join Peter, because he drops so much information, and the original is free, right? And then they have the chance to upgrade to VIP like
Yeah,
I
let me
did.
explain this. So what
Yeah,
we're doing is something very unique. You get to choose your experience. You could either sit there and watch and get really anxious because you want to ask your own questions and you can't, or this happens all the time. Well, see, we can't answer everybody's questions. Here's the facts. Like I run an IP law firm, you know, we're doing great there, but the issue is that we want to help people understand these things that they don't know. So we provide these online courses that are free, but we can't answer everybody's questions. And what happens is as I start training people, people start thinking, "Oh my gosh, what about this situation? My company's doing this. What about that situation?" And so they want to ask their questions, and it's not possible for me to answer hundreds of questions at the same time.
sure.
So what I did was I created a VIP experience. So you can do the free experience, which is you just watch and God bless you. That's awesome. Just watch it. Or you can get serious about this in VIP. In VIP, you're going to get the replays. And on top of that, you're going to be able to ask your own question live. So that means you can either type it in and get answers to the questions. You can email me the questions and I'll answer them directly. Or I can select you for a hot seat, which means live in front of everybody while I'm training everybody for that hour and a half each day on the 26th, 27th, and 28th. You will personally be able to ask me a question and I'll answer it. Now, just realize I'm not going to give you legal advice because you're not a client. So I can't give you legal advice. And this isn't about trying to get clients. If anybody knows, you don't do something like this for free if you're trying to get clients. So I'm going to answer your questions. Now, some of you I'll pick to do lives, to ask your questions live and give you answers live and do interactions. Like you might have a follow-up. Guys, you get to do that for 95 bucks. And I bill at 600 bucks an hour. Like,
And
take advantage of it.
yeah, and I would definitely say take advantage of it if you can't be there live for some reason. If you can't, like those hours just don't work out for you, because you still can ask a question via email, like he just said, and get the
Right.
replay. So
That's
definitely
exactly right.
do that.
You
Yeah,
get like Bralynn said, you get the replays. So
yeah.
if you're gonna get the replays, even if you can't make it, trust me, we've never had a single person say it's not worth the 95 bucks.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, I know the one that I was in was brilliant. So I'm excited for this to come up. Yeah, definitely don't wait around though. We will put the correct link right below us here, spiritcenteredbusiness.com/protect. So we're
Yeah.
gonna go there.
We're gonna, just so people know, we're gonna cover other content too. So if you're selling products online, you actually have to create your own content for that, like your own images, your own text. So we're gonna tell you what's safe to create for images and text, how to stop other people from stealing your content from your websites, your funnels, from your ads. There's ways to do that using copyright law and trademark law. So we're gonna cover many different topics. So if you're a content creator, trust me, you'll want to be there.
I do have a question for you.
Sure.
My team uses free images that you can get like on Pixabay or Unsplash or things like that that are royalty free, and then creates our thumbnails and stuff for the show. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so there are a number of different platforms that you can use that have free licensed content, right?
Okay,
Just make sure you read the terms and conditions,
got it.
because what some of them say is that you can use them for non-commercial purposes. But if you use them for commercial purposes, meaning that you are using them in interstate commerce, you're selling products or selling services and you're receiving money back, some of them say that's not allowed. So you got to read the terms and conditions. And you'll see, usually it's in a clause that says intellectual property. You'll see somewhere in there, and it'll let you know what you can and cannot do with the images that you're grabbing. There are some platforms, like, again, that are safe. You just want to make sure you're doing this right, because the last thing you want to do is start having some ad campaign, and then all of a sudden these companies, which are suing people, by the way, like it's not like we're making this up. They're suing people for using their content in ads, in books. So just make sure that it says that you get a commercial license. You have a license to use this in interstate commerce, or a business commercial license. You got to find that kind of language. If you don't, you can be exposing yourself to trouble. They'll allow you to use things, but the problem is you can't use them in a commercial setting. So just be careful.
That's really good. Yeah. Okay. So you had mentioned websites and funnels and things like that. I see very similar stuff all the time in those kind of funnels. Like you can just like tell this is a click funnel, right? Because it kind of, they all look the same. So how do you protect when it's kind of like all the same, you know?
Yeah, this is a great point. So there was a really famous influencer who went on Instagram and put out an ad, and it was advertising this AI platform. And what the AI platform did was you just take the URL of somebody else's funnel, you type the URL of their funnel in this AI platform, and then it gives you a rendering. You take that rendering and you put that into ClickFunnels, and you have their entire funnel, like
Wow.
copy, paste. And they were doing this on Russell Brunson. Now, for those of you that don't know, Russell Brunson is one of the nicest, like most generous, kind, but rich individuals out there who created ClickFunnels. And he's always trying to find ways to help people, bless people. Like, you know, he's a very family-oriented guy, but he's also brilliant, like really smart. Well, this guy, this influencer was saying, look, I stole Russell Brunson's funnel. And he's showing people this in a TikTok ad and in an Instagram ad. And it blew my mind. Like he had no clue. I wanted to call up Russell myself and just say, Russell, this guy is like telling millions of people how to copy your stuff. But anyways, so that's illegal. That's called copyright infringement. You can't grab somebody else's content, their images or their content, and just copy it and paste it. That's called copyright infringement. So what can I do if I have a website? If I get a website, there's a number of things I can do. What some people are doing is they're using images instead of, like they're using images for their text instead of using text. So somebody can't just copy and paste it. They'd have to grab the image, which makes it harder to harvest what's on the site. That's one thing people do. But the other thing you want to do is put the copyright notice right on the site. Put in your terms and conditions right on the site. You should have a section like a privacy policy and terms and conditions should be on your website, on your funnel. If you don't have one, you need one. You need those because those are warnings to the public saying, hey, this is my stuff. If you grab my stuff, you're legally liable for copyright infringement, trademark infringement, and whatever else. Like it's all in the terms and conditions. Like we have one that we sell to our clients. The one that we actually created was worth thousands, but we sell it to our clients like at a fraction of the cost because we're trying to help people. But you need to get these things on your site. Get the copyright notice. It should be Circle C. It should be the year that's associated with the latest content, and then the entity that owns it or the individual that owns it. And then separate from that, you should have, again, your privacy policy should be on your site. What can people do? What can't they do? Make that really clear on your website. Look, you're spending lots of time and money, lots of money, hiring people, you know, building things. Don't you think you should be the one that should benefit from this? Or if you want to give it to other people to use, God bless you, that's awesome. But you should be able to control what they do with it. Do you want somebody to like take your content and put something filthy on it? No, of course not. Like you want to control what happens to your assets. And so you have to learn these things. And so we're going to teach you guys this on the Content Creators Legal Bootcamp.
I love that. Yeah. So definitely get over there and register. It's March 26th through the 28th. Will it be available if people are watching this past, after that date? If they
Yeah, what we're gonna do, we're gonna probably take this one because this is so incredibly important. We'll probably take this and turn it into an evergreen at some point, and then it'll be $95 to watch it at all.
Right.
The problem, guys, is that and look, that it's worth It's worth thousands of dollars, and you'll
Oh,
see it once
sure.
you're in there. But the problem is you won't be able to ask any live questions.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's why people tend to like to go to the trainings that I go to is, yeah,
Absolutely.
they gain a lot of content, but a lot of knowledge, a lot of knowledge. And since you have the replays, you can watch the replays. But to be able to ask your own personal questions while it's going on, that
Mhm.
has to do with your situations, that's priceless because good luck going out there to try to find the right attorney to actually work with you on a specific issue that they need to understand it. You have the opportunity to work with someone, and I say this humbly because I give the Lord credit for all the accolades and all the skills that I have, honestly. But I mean, you've got a trademark lawyer, copyright lawyer, patent lawyer, trade secret lawyer, licensing attorney, someone who knows AI like the back of their hands, um, all in one person, like in one live. Like, try to find that online. It doesn't exist. So I would say take advantage of it if you can.
Okay, so everybody, we need to pray protection over Peter right now so that
Oh my
nothing happens
gosh.
to him so he can do this
Yeah,
for us.
yeah. It's funny. I actually have a team that intercedes, like, because what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do, so people understand, like, why would this guy do this? Like, why would this guy leave a major New England law firm to build his own law firm and an educational institution to share the content with everybody? I mean,
Mhm.
I honestly, I was fine. I was doing very well, and the Lord called me out and said, "Go. I want you to leave the firm." Now, just to be clear, like I was doing very well. Like I could have sat back for 3 more years maybe and retired.
Wow.
And he called me out. And so, look, when he tells you to do things, you do it. And so I did. I went out and built the law firm, the IP law firm, Nieves IP law group. And then I also built the educational institution. And it's a lot more work than it was just sitting back and doing well before. It's a lot more work. It's probably double the hours. But, if that's your calling, that's your calling. So what I'm trying to do is transform the legal profession because lawyers have a tremendous amount of knowledge, but the public's supposed to gain from the law. The law is intended to protect the public. The problem is the public can't afford it.
Right.
This is the issue. Like, how many people in the audience can afford to sit back and, spend 10 hours with an attorney to fix something? I mean, that's $6,000. A lot of people can't just do that for no reason. So I decided to make this, well, I guess we decided to make this available to everybody, to make the legal system work the way it's supposed to. Well, ironically, if you provide free service to others, meaning free training to others, I don't mean legal advice, I mean
Right.
teaching to others, they now become more competent, they become more educated, they become more savvy, more successful. And at the same time, what I didn't realize is now these people know that you're the real deal. Like, they realize that you actually care about them. You want to spend time with them. You want to help them. You're not just like taking advantage of them. So now when they do have a legal issue, who do they call? You. So you're actually, it's funny, if you use the kingdom principle of serving people first and not trying to make a lot of money, just serving people, you actually build a client base without advertising. And the result is you do better than you actually did in advertising. I mean, the way the kingdom works is it's the opposite of the way the business world thinks. Serve people, love people first, the rest will fall into place. And
That is
so,
so good.
yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying helping people. It's hard work. Don't get me wrong. Like, I got off a plane last night, got home, worked till 4 in the morning, and now I'm up and doing it again. So,
Oh
but
my
I
God.
know all the hard work is there to set things up. Then things will start coasting. So
Oh, that is
there's the
so
story.
Yeah, so you've got, I'm just looking at the website, you've got the Protect Your Idea Challenge, which is the one that I went through. And then you've got Law for AI Masterclass, the Content Creators Legal Bootcamp, which is the one coming up that we're talking about today. And you have Startup Legal Bootcamp, which we're going to talk about next week. So you've been creating quite a bit of content since I first met you, and that's exciting. But
Yeah, it is.
obviously, because you are a content creator, you know how hard it is or how easy it is or what to do to protect it. So I love that you're sharing.
Absolutely. And the beauty of it is I don't have to pay a lawyer. So that's the nice part. It's like I file my own trademarks, file my own copyrights, and when I do the
Oh,
trainings, it's kind of funny because people don't realize that if you use AI for recording when you're on a Zoom, that's committing copyright infringement if you don't have permission for that. So when I do these trainings, like I had one where there's like 800 and something people there, and the Zoom thing pops up and says artificial intelligence is being utilized to record,
yeah.
will you allow it or not? And so I gave one warning. I said, guys, for 25 years, I've been an IP attorney. I've been doing litigation throughout the United States, and I'm very fortunate in that I don't lose. I strongly suggest you don't copy my content. And literally everybody stopped recording immediately. It was like tick, 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 and everything stopped. And it was and I laughed. I was like, and everybody in the room was laughing hysterically. So it's
You're
like,
like,
just don't.
good choice.
Yeah, it's like it's not a good idea to like steal from the very hand that's trying to help you. You don't bite that hand, especially when that hand knows what to do. And so it's really
Brilliant.
fun. So we have a great
Well,
time doing this, and there's prizes and everything.
yeah, no, I love your personality and you bring a lot of humor to it, and it's really good too. Obviously, my audience can see that by this conversation. But that does bring up a question to me. It's like, can you file these things by yourself, or do you always need a lawyer?
That's a really good question. What I usually tell people is make sure that you use an attorney when you start out. Like, because as an example for a trademark application, right? Can you file on your own? Yeah, but if you make one mistake, you can't fix it. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's say your recitation of goods or services like is covering the wrong thing, or you choose the wrong international class. If you choose the wrong international class, if you're fortunate, the examiner might tell you, hey, it actually belongs here, and you can modify that. But you can't change the trademark. If you submit, let's say the trademark is Runaway Bride, right? Old movie. All right. So let's say that was the trademark, Runaway Bride, and you write Runway Bride instead of Runaway Bride. You can't fix it. You have to refile the entire thing. If your recitation of goods and services is improper, it's up to the examiner as to whether or not they'll allow you to make a modification. There's so many things that if you get them wrong, you can't fix them. Now, let's say that you file in the name of one entity instead of the correct entity. You can fix things like that. But if you've never done this before, you should use an attorney. The other thing is when you work with an attorney who knows what they're doing, they're going to docket it. They're going to keep you aware of everything that's going to happen. After you file, it's not over. Like once you file, you get
What?
filing receipt, you get publication notice if it's being allowed. You can get an office action, which is a rejection. If you don't respond to the rejection within 3 months, your case goes abandoned. Like once you get a registration, you have to renew it every 5 years. If you don't renew it, it's abandoned. I taught at Bethel, what was it? The 28th and 29th of last month, February 28th and 29th. I was teaching at Bethel on protecting God's ideas.
Mhm.
And as I'm teaching them, I'm training them on trademarks. Afterwards, two different people came up to me and said, my trademark is abandoned. I don't understand why. I went on the USPTO website and I looked and it said that they didn't pay for a renewal of their trademark. All they had to do was file a form, like online. They didn't know. So it's better to use an attorney when you're starting out. If you get really savvy, then sure, if you need to file something on your own, then you file it on your own. But I would never start out that way. Um, it's just it's just not worth it. You can lose a lot of money in the process.
Mhm. And so can you do multiple things at once, or is every individual thing, like the website and the book and the course that you created and the blogs, and is everything its own, or can you lump it all together?
There are certain things, we talk about this in the training. There are certain things that you can group together, but there's a
Hmm.
lot of criteria for it. Like it has to be the same author, and there's other criteria. So we go through that in detail
And you do,
there.
okay.
But it's a good question. I mean, think about it this way. What if you're a photographer and you have thousands, if not tens of thousands of images. You don't want to file a $65 copyright registration for every single image.
Right.
Like, you can't afford that. So it's a lot better to understand how to file things together, or find the ones that are most important and file for those. The fact of the matter is, you have certain legal rights even if you don't file. But if you ever want to enforce, at that point, you have to have a federal registration. So we go through that in the training.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay, so again, that training coming up, Content Creators Legal Bootcamp, March 26th through 28th. And if you're watching this afterwards, just check out his peternieves.com and see if maybe it's a course, or if they have another upcoming bootcamp, or what's available to grab that content if you missed this in time. But if you didn't miss it in time, then I want to see you there.
Yeah, and on the top right, when you jump in, there's a little button there. You can push that and leave your name, email address, and then what we'll do is, every time we do an event, we actually tell you. Like, we let people know about these events.
Sure.
And like when we did the training for Bethel, I actually hired a videography team, and they had 3 cameras filming the whole thing. So I had it turned into a professional, like, movie, so to speak. And so everybody there, I tell them to go to peternieves.com and just put in your name, email address, phone number if you want, and then in the notes section, type the word Bethel. And when they did that, now have the video compilation, and I'm sending it to all of them for free. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah,
Brilliant.
so because it was, and so now we already have that, we have that group already put together. So now they're getting one major email shipment that's going to give them all the videos. And so we basically covered the cost for all that, because, I mean, God's releasing a lot of content, a lot of ideas, and people don't understand that, when something's being released from the third heaven, fighting through the second heaven to get to you in the first heaven as the ambassador of the kingdom of heaven, like, it's a big deal. It took Daniel 21 days to hear from an angel, right? It's, when you look at the parable of the sower, or actually even better, the parable of the talents, you have people that are receiving things and not doing anything with it. Well, what happened? That was taken away, and they were sent to the enemy. Like, there's some bad stuff that happens. So I'm not saying this to condemn people, but if you're receiving ideas from the Lord, you need to do something with them. You shouldn't just sit back and go, if I get to it, I'll get to it. Like, it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's really good. All right, you guys, go to spiritcenteredbusiness.com/protect, and we will definitely have that in the show notes wherever you're watching or listening to the show. And the cliffhanger, don't miss next week's, because we're going to talk about the Small Business Legal Bootcamp, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Absolutely. Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you. All right, you guys, until next time, stay spirit-centered. Peace out.
Hey there, SCB peeps. I want to give a huge shout out and deep appreciation and thanks to Candace Benton. She has become a super sponsor for the Spirit Centered Business Show. So I would appreciate you helping me in sending blessings and abundance back to her. Thank you so much, Candace, and you are well loved.
Thank you for listening to Spirit Centered Business with Bralynn Newby. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. The next stage of doing business by being spirit-centered is coming together in collaboration, working with spiritual principles, and knowing our destiny. Join our tribe at spiritcenteredbusiness.com, and we'll catch you on the next broadcast. Peace out.